Hi everyone, I'm Sarah with the Hobby Lobby Creative Studio. Welcome back to our Christmas Tree Basics video series. During this second video, I'll begin adding all my pretty ribbon and some large filler ornaments. So let's get started. So at this point, your tree should be fluffed and lit. I covered lots of great tips for both of those steps during the previous video. Now we'll begin adding some depth and interest to our tree using ribbon. Having your ribbon in place before adding any ornaments to your tree makes it easy to work the ribbon around without worrying about knocking anything off. I always like to layer different styles of ribbon to add a little extra depth and interest. For example, I'm going to use this wide red mesh ribbon, a sheer gold ribbon, along with a solid red ribbon to really make it all pop. Using a sheer and a solid in the same color gives you a lot of texture without going overboard with too many colors of ribbons. First, I'm going to show you the technique I use to anchor all the ribbon to the branches. I call it the tuck and twist. Anchoring your ribbon really well is crucial to getting good full loops that stay put as you work your way down the tree. You want to attach your ribbon to the innermost part of the branch so it actually looks like the ribbon is coming from within the tree rather than laying on top of it. This will add a ton of depth and shape to your tree. So you're going to first tuck your ribbon at the very base of one of the sprigs furthest back on the branch, right where it V's off of the main branch. Now, holding the ribbon firmly in place, twist the sprig tightly around the ribbon, twisting it all the way back to its original place. So again, you're not moving your ribbon, you're twisting the sprig around the ribbon. Once you have the ribbon tucked and twisted in place, it should be snug enough that you can pull and work on the shape of your loop without pulling it out of place. So now that you know how to tuck and twist your ribbon, let's talk about placement. Start at the top with your widest ribbon first. Place the end of the ribbon on the back side of the tree so it isn't visible. Do your first tuck and twist, then start looping. The method here is to do a large full loop, then a small loop, then another large loop, and so on. This keeps it interesting and adds good texture. You can either follow a zigzag pattern back and forth as you go down the tree, or you can actually work your way around and around the tree. However, for a really professional designer look, it's best to keep the pattern a bit more random. What I mean by that is that you can make a few loops like I have here. Then I'm going to cut my ribbon and begin again in the middle of this line of loops here, forking off in a new direction. Be sure to let your ribbon drape and loop naturally. Don't pull it tight over the branches. At the same time, you need to be sure your loops aren't sticking out too far beyond the branches and taking away from the overall shape of the tree. In the end, the ribbon should look like it's intertwined and weaving in and out among the branches and the ornaments. Take a step back pretty often, checking that your ribbon looks balanced and is flowing nicely down your tree. Most importantly, be patient with the process. This is probably the most time-consuming step of decorating your tree, but you'll be thrilled with the results in the end. So, when you get all the way down the tree with your widest ribbon, go back up to the top and come down again with your next ribbon, filling in the spaces left behind by the first ribbon. But don't worry about following the same pattern. Feel free to crisscross them or even cut the ribbon and start in a new spot, creating a more random pattern. Here's a look at what my tree looks like after each layer of ribbon. Here's the first layer with just the wide red mesh. Now here's the second layer with the red mesh and adding in the sheer gold ribbon. And finally the third layer, the red, sheer gold, and finished out with the solid red. Now that you've got all your ribbon tucked and looped into place, it's time to add some large filler ornaments to take care of any obvious holes or gaps in your tree. So often we only think about putting ornaments at the end of the branches, when really this step right here is actually the secret to a beautifully big, full-looking tree. Just start by taking 6 or 7 of these oversized large ornaments and placing them deep in the tree every so often, wherever there may be a visible hole or gap between branches. To secure these ornaments in place, I recommend using a piece of one of these green chenille stems, also known as pipe cleaners, to attach the ornament to the branch. Just loop it through the top of the ornament and do one simple twist around the branch. The color blends right into the tree. but it holds the ornament nice and close to the branch. By the way, the little chenille stems can be found in the crafts department. You want to be sure not to place these really large ornaments up towards the top where they would stick out past the branches. This ensures the Christmas tree maintains its classic triangle shape, even when you've got lots of ornaments on it. Now, take some medium-sized ornaments and place them into the other areas that might look a little sparse. It's probably safe to say you'll use about 10 to 20 of these basic filler ornaments on an average 7.5-foot tree like this one, just to give you an idea. You could obviously use more or less. Take one last good look to make sure you've filled in all the gaps in your branches and you're well on your way to a fantastic tree. Be sure to check out the next Christmas Tree Basics video, where I'll add all the decorative ornaments and the finishing touches that will really make your tree shine. See you again soon!